Good morning. Oh my God, I said it. I'm so used to the morning. Good evening. I don't even know what time it is. Good evening and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. I am Dr. Lori Monaco, the badass Buddha, and we don't have to go through everything because we already did it this morning.
Margarita y bienvenido in the evening with Viva Cafe con Leche. So thank you for those who are going to join us. Thank you for taking the time out of your evening to be present here with the badass Buddha and I, because that's what we love. We love companionship.
Yes, we do. And this is Tiffany. Tiffany, you were first. Well, okay, Poe Richie beat you on YouTube, but Tiffany Bryan is first on Facebook. So good evening. Listen, this is great. So we're so happy. This is a very, very special event for us. You know that the only night show that we do is usually the Friday night or radio show. But we know, and which is tomorrow, which is our favorite, though, is always the video live, because we can actually see the comments and speak to everybody directly. Well, not speak, but you know what I'm saying. So we could speak, you guys just listen, and we can actually answer questions and so on and so forth. And tonight is a really, really special night for us here at Viva Cafe con Leche because of our guest. So she has got she sent us a bio, which is great. But her first page on her website is hella long, and I actually did print it out, and I'm going to read some highlights to you, to everybody. But I first want to read I have to put the glasses on. See, I look all youthful looking, but then I got to put the glasses on, the old lady glasses.
So what you're saying is just
and the bifocals
look old, right? So you're insulting me as you're trying to compliment yourself. Okay, good start to an evening show.
Oh my God, I got the bifocals on.
So do I, honey.
I got to do this. Okay, so our special guest this evening is Dame Doria Cordova. She is the CEO and owner of Excellerated Business School's Money Camp U program, the organization that brought the world experiential, transformational, entrepreneurial education, now both off and online. Since 1979, with over 165,000 graduates from over 85 countries. The program has inspired some of today's best-known business education and wealth experts and has touched the lives of millions globally. She is a humanitarian, a philanthropist, an author, and has been in countless digital events, podcasts, films, and book series, and now on Viva Cafe con Leche. She is a global business developer for organizations that are in alignment with her purpose. That is beautiful right there. To uplift humanity's consciousness through socially responsible businesses. One of her missions is to transform educational systems around the world and eradicate poverty and hunger. That's right, girl. Another, the greening of the world. All the endeavors that she is involved in must be in alignment with those missions. Pow, that's beautiful. That's such a phenomenal bio. And let me I highlighted some things from her long front page, and we will have her website on her. So we definitely want you to go and check out her website. So she is, and I left out a bunch. So don't get mad at me for leaving some, because I just focused on a few. She is the only Latin woman that was part of the group of pioneers led by Marshall Thurber and Bobby DePorter, supercamp.com, that began the development of the transformational experiential entrepreneurial training industry. She inherited the work of over 36 years, which was now expanded to what's today's through countless partners, associates, teams, graduates. So she came into back then it was called self-help, right? And all of us here are old enough to know that one, but now it's personal development. Sounds so much better. But she came into this at a time when even the bigwigs, like people like Tony Robbins, he's the big, like people think of 80s personal development, they think of Tony Robbins. She came in before, and she was a woman, and she was a Latina. So how badass is that? Okay. Along with Robert Kiyosaki from Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which I read that book a long time ago. In 1985, they opened that industry in Australia, New Zealand, and later Singapore. Subsequently, along with new partners, the Malaysia, Taiwan, Hong Kong, China, Indonesia, India, Thailand, and Philippines, Cambodia, and other markets have been opened. Their larger market is in the Chinese language. And having been in China for 19 years, Her latest expansion of the work is an English Global Accelerated Business School for Entrepreneurs. Wait, I'm not done. I promise we're not going to take the whole time to do this. We're going to let her talk. So she is the only female leader in the industry that has grown a global organization with a licensing model that has allowed her the independence to expand her business endeavors into renewables, and to continue her humanitarian efforts. Do you see a common factor here? She is the only woman. You hear these terms, only woman, first woman. She supports numerous nonprofit foundations and humanitarian organizations as a mentor and champion. She has created the Humanitarian Mastermind series to educate humanitarians around the world with powerful, effective, and proven business organizational tools. This curriculum will be part of the Doria Cordova Foundation, which will be established in 2021. Her birthday, she was knighted as Dame of Honor by the Sovereign Order of the Orthodox Knights Hospitaller. I'm so sorry if I'm not saying it right. Of St. John of Jerusalem. Name change to Orthodox Order of St. John, Russian Grand Priory. The oldest humanitarian order in the world for her lifelong service to humanity. In January 2013, she was advanced to Dame Commander of Grace. In 2018, to the Chancellor of California Priory of the Order for her contribution to the growth of the order, and its HTTP OOSJ. She'll have to give that abbreviation. And then the last thing, in December 18, 2016, Dory received an honorary doctorate in wealth wellness with specialization in transformational leadership from the Indian Virtual University of Peace and Education, a reputable organization registered in the United Nations. That is just absolutely phenomenal. And so everybody, welcome our guest coming from Hawaii. Well, she's in Hawaii. She's broadcasting from Hawaii. So good evening, Doria.
Hello. God, that makes me sound so old. Muy viejita.
You were knighted, girl. You're just a free spirit.
That's
it.
right. That's
right.
So
what are we going to talk about today? I just love the title of your show, so I was happy to join you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And that's a friend of ours that came up with that name, and Gladiator Guru, Margarita de Margarita over here, is the one that really started. I could take my glasses off now. And then we just blended together. And we need to let you know that what this program, this platform actually stands for. And again, I keep saying this because we have to remind ourselves that we are disruptors. We are unapologetically courageous, spiritually grounded, magically orgasmic, and we go beyond authenticity. And that's the point of this particular program. So what we're going to talk about, like, we could talk about a lot of different things, but one thing that really is intriguing to me, Doria, is the fact that you got into this right in the beginning, like before people even really understood it. And then, not to mention, you got into it, but you were in it as a female. Like, what was that like? What was that like coming in?
You got into it as a Latina.
And
because that's like, at that era, that was so unheard of, and I'm so honored.
Yes.
What is your nationality? Latina?
Chilena. I'm from Chile. Yes, I grew up in Chile until I was 12. So my whole thing about having community and having a village comes from that. I grew up in a little village. You know, the way we did babysitting, my parents and my family, they would scream at the door, you know, who's going to take care of Doricita tonight, you know? And somebody would scream out and go, I'll do it. And then you kind of went over there and stayed until, you know, that is if you needed it, because most of the time nobody went out the way, but that's how babysitting happened. And it was the most beautiful environment.
So you were raised
Chile, Santiago,
and living the reality of it takes a village.
I did. And it was a shock to come to the United States, to Los Angeles. It was so shocking. It was so disconnected. It was so lonely. At night, everybody was in their houses. You know, at night, especially in the spring and the summer, everybody brought chairs out and all the children played and the young people walked around the plaza, you know, being chaperoned, you know. Like in Spanish, it was called pololear, which was to date, you know, but you had family members behind you. And it was so lonely. That was something that was so shocking to all of us. And even now, when I go to Mexico, I was just in Puerto Rico, you can actually see it in the neighborhoods that the people are out. You know, they're not in their houses. They're not watching TV. They're like, they are out with the community. So I love that.
Yes, it is. It's a camaraderie that keeps you connected to something that's
Yeah.
that's wealthy. Just the experience of coming from that, from a big family, which means the neighborhood becomes your family.
Yes.
And when you're ever feeling alone, you're really not, because you can always go back into memory and remember you did experience that, you did live that. And I think that's what gives us the push to keep going forward and introduce that into new communities going forward. So I thank you for that. You were knighted. Oh my God, I want to hear all about that, Jerusalem and the priory and all that. That's beautiful.
Well, go ahead. Do you want me to tell you now or later? Go ahead. What would you like?
No, go ahead. Go whatever you want to say, because we want, I mean, we'd love to direct you to say, hey, go here, but like whatever you feel like coming out that needs to be said tonight is really, you know.
Well, you know what I really, the night part is just, it's an acknowledgement of humanitarian work that you do. And, you know, and when I was nominated by these wonderful two people, I thought it was a little bit of a joke. I am a true believer in planning, in creating goals, in visualization boards, but I had never ever said that I wanted to be knighted. I had never said, I want to be part of an order. I did have a vision when I was very young, when I was around 17 years old, that I was going to be in a big body like the United Nations. And that's when I chose to go ahead and take up languages in college so that I could be an interpreter in the United Nations. I didn't know I was going to grow up to be a member of the United Nations, which our order has 3 seats in the United Nations. So when you're young, you can only see yourself in the vision that you have, that of course you're going to be an interpreter. You're not going to be a member of the UN. And even though I did see myself in the UN. So that was an interesting thing to have happen when I was very young. And so when I was invited to be knighted, I actually didn't pay that much attention, but I mentioned it to I always have a mentor. I always have a spiritual mentor. I always have what they call them coaches now. We used to call them mentors. And I mentioned it to her that it was going to be that I had been invited that on my birthday to be knighted in New York by this order. And she says, and I said, isn't that funny? Isn't that cute? And she goes, that's actually quite an amazing thing. I think you better look at it. Go look at that invitation again. And there was, in the invitation, you had to make a list of all the things that you have ever done that added value to humanity. And I had never made that list before. And it was very emotional because I had not realized from the time I was little, I had always done something, including try to adopt a homeless little boy, because I was the only child that was an only child in my neighborhood. And that's another big story, but we won't go into that. But so I wanted a little brother. And so I just picked up a little homeless boy that needed a home, and I needed a brother. And it was very dramatic because I couldn't keep him. And I cried, and the whole neighborhood was traumatized because I didn't know the distinction that you couldn't just pick up little boys. Actually, to this day, I don't understand why, because my grandfather had picked up 2 little children off the street, and we knew them as our cousins. So I think I had learned that from my grandfather, but it was a different time. And then I made a list of all the things I had done, and I was shocked that I was actually already a knight. I was already a dame, By the way, you can only be called a lady if you are a British citizen and the queen of, or a citizen of that particular country, and the queen or king of that particular country knights you. Then you are lady. So you could be a lady, you know, in Sweden, a lady if you are Swedish and you are your king, you know, knights you. Otherwise, you're called a dame, and so which is funny. You know, I mean, that name is so fun anyway, to be a dame, you know, and all my friends have songs to it and all that. But I didn't realize how regal it was until I got there. And I'm sorry that I didn't invite my family, my closest friends. They would have flown to New York with me. I just decided I'll go to New York and have fun and be knighted. It was so regal and it was so beautiful. And it was the flags and the sword and with me, they did it in the head. A lot of times they only do it on the shoulder, but he did it he's passed away now, but he was a prince, and an elderly gentleman. He put it on my head. And when he put the sword in my head and lifted it, there was this whoof. And it was like, holy mother. And it was really interesting because I have always been a humanitarian, always been a philanthropist as soon as I could afford it. But in the next month, so my birthday is November 14, and in the next month, I reached
my husband's birthday.
Your son's birthday?
My husband who passed away, that's his birthday. Mine is November 7th, so ahí estamos. Connection.
Oh, you must have been a sexy man.
He was awesome.
Oh, and may he be dancing in the dimensions of love and light with all the angels.
Yes,
he is. I'm sure he is.
I can feel him now. I'm getting chicken skin, what we call chicken skin.
Yeah.
Like he's, oh my goodness. Ooh, I feel him. He wants to come in and say hello. Thank you.
Right
my Quincy.
He passed away right in this room. I knew que tú eres espiritual. I knew it. I knew it when I
Oh,
did.
yeah.
I knew. Ooh. But yeah, he passed away 4 years ago of ALS. So a strong warrior. Pero pa'lante.
Yes. Bless his heart. He came here, he did his work and went on. You know, he must be having a lot more fun. Anyway, don't get me started on that one. But I for the next month and a half of the end of that year of 2010, I did more humanitarian things than I had done the whole year. And it was like, and it kicked in, it activated inside of me that truly, and I have a quote which says that you can't truly be wealthy without being of service. And so I am what is called also a mentor of nurturing. And I have worked with some of the wealthiest people on the planet in the Asia Pacific side. And I was so shocked when I started meeting rich people, because I grew up middle class. I didn't know rich people. That you always thought they were different and special and blessed and all this and that. And I was so shocked when I started meeting rich people, how ungrateful some of them were, how unhappy they were. I thought they would be the happiest people on the planet. And I started getting the hint that money did not make you happy. I knew that because I had a lot of loss. But I was so shocked to find out that they were even more messed up than some of my friends with no money. I mean, I was like, what? It's like my brain is kind of melted, you know? It was like, and it was clearly money did not make you happy. So anyway, I had the opportunity to really get that my whole life. I was in the legal system. Very young, I went into the legal system, and I was going to grow up to be an attorney. I was an official court reporter, and I was in the legal system for 8 years. And Great Spirit was putting me there so that I could learn business, so that I could learn people, so that I could learn legal, not legal, ethical, not ethical, because I also found myself in the 70s being in room full of unethical attorneys, judges, cops, which later it got cleaned up. A lot of the legal field still not cleaned up. The cops were, but not the legal field. So I have an understanding that personal integrity and personal beingness on caring for others carries so much weight. And now that I'm in my early 70s now, and I watch people that have been really mean.
You look fabulous. Oh my
Thank you.
God.
This is no Botox, no fillers.
Oh my God. That's beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you. I had a little surgery for my jowls about 9 years ago, right here. That's it. But the rest of it is natural clearing and light.
Love it.
I use some patches called light wave patches that actually induce light, but that's another story. But one of the things that I absolutely get, that if you have lived a badly lived life, you really get to pay for that in your elder years.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have been a total a-hole, the last 10, 20, 30 years of your life can be grueling. There is this natural integrity. And I think that I don't know if we should even have prisons, only because people create their own destinies and their own punishment. Like when O.J. Simpson got put in jail for something stupid that he did.
Yes.
I knew. I mean, my friends went, I can't believe that happened because you told us. When he got found innocent from killing, that his Nicole, the friend, I said, don't worry about it. The guy's going to end up in jail. He's going to create himself ending up in jail for something completely different. Because ultimately, I knew about O.J. Simpson, and he did have integrity at this one level. He was a very interesting human being. We grew up with him as a football player and then an actor and all that. And there was something so endearing about the guy. And there was this natural thing. And I get that he lost the plot and did what he did. And it was horrific and probably should have, gone to jail for the rest of his life. But that's a little tiny example of somebody that puts himself in jail for something completely different. And so what we have to do is we have to really choose things. And if you go to my Facebook, there is a quote by Buckminster Fuller. How do we make the world work for 100% of humanity in the shortest possible time through spontaneous cooperation without any ecological offense or the disadvantage of anyone? So when you create product and services and programs like the two of you, this is the first time we meet. And for me, anybody that is committed to creating a program to bring awareness, to bring love, to bring light, to bring distinctions, you are being of service. Because people, if you're doing this live, people don't have to pay. So you are, even if it's the smallest audience or the largest audience, we touch that whom we touch. We can change lives. And right there, you just put in a little drop, a little drop, a little drop, which can turn into a huge lake. And there is a generalized principle. A generalized principle is something that is true at all times. Gravity is a generalized principle. Leverage is a generalized principle, and a thing called precession is a generalized principle, which is the physics of the ripple effects. So we learned from Buckminster Fuller, the same man that I just quoted, that when you keep dropping stones for the betterment of humanity, the ripple effects that you're going to create, you may never know what those ripple effects are. But the thing is that what's going to happen is that you feel like you go to bed at night and you have what I call a bedgasm. You know, when you are so tired at night and you hit that and you just love that bed, you know that feeling, right? We all know it. When you like, we call them bedgasm, right?
Oh, I love that you use that, as I am magically orgasmic.
It's orgasmic. Just remember, every human being, when you're tired and you hit that bed, you go, finally I'm in bed, right? So it's that feeling that you get, that I did good work today. And then something will happen and your deservability will be really high. And then you get chosen for these different things and you go, I think I deserve that. So I'm always working with people on building their deservability level. And I want to invite everyone to go to fridayswithdoria.com. And under resources, there is a program called Recovery Magical Exercises. And it's all about clearing multi-generational decisions that you carry in your body that are related to money, to success, and the level of forgiveness that human beings have to do because we've all screwed up. We've all done it. I don't know of anybody that hasn't done something to hurt another. After a while, though, you begin to learn, let's not even do stuff that by accident we can hurt another or the environment. When you really commit your life to the betterment of humanity, like Mr. Fuller used to say, the Great Spirit will take care of you. And money starts being better, health, you get more beautiful, you don't age. I have some friends that, they think I'm a little bit of a white witch because I look how I look and they look 20 years older than me and they're 5 years younger than me. And they go, I always knew you were a witch. And I go, I am not a witch. I'm not even a good witch. I am just understanding generalized principles. And I want to make sure you all follow me in Fridays with Doria. I think that you guys have a different time zone. It's 5 p.m. California time. And next week, we're going to be talking about generalized principles in fridayswithdoria.com. But tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock in the morning, Pacific time, where are you all located?
Eastern.
We're on the East Coast. East
Okay.
Coast.
So at 12 noon tomorrow, if you can, join me at Fridays with Doria for a Ho'oponopono prayer. That I will be doing a prayer from where I am right now, the slopes of the Haleakala Mountain on Maui. And I'll be doing a prayer because my BFF, he passed away a month and a half ago, and I'm on my way to his wake. And I'm flying right after the Ho'oponopono, I fly to San Francisco. And it will be on Clubhouse and it will be on Zoom. And the Ho'oponopono prayer is so profound. Are you familiar with it, the two of you?
I am. I forgot which individual I heard it from. The first time I heard it was when I believe it was in the movie The Secret, right? Isn't that the gentleman? There's a gentleman.
No, that was Joe Vitale, but I don't think he talked about Ho'oponopono in The Secret.
And he might not have, but it was in something that I've watched that he was in. Yes, that's who it was.
Well, Joe Vitale, he's somebody that I know from the Transformational Leadership Council. I wrote on his second book on the Ho'oponopono 0 Point. I wrote the foreword there, and that foreword is in Fridays with Doria under the Ho'oponopono prayer. You can read all about it. And he worked with the man that I met in 1984 that was working with the big kahuna. Her name was Morna Simeona. She has a big name. And she brought a Hawaiian teaching from the Huna teachings, which is the Ho'oponopono prayer. She made it into a prayer. The Ho'oponopono is a process which means to make things right. So human beings, we should be in a constant Ho'oponopono to make things right, And right now is such an opportunity on the planet where we cannot make people wrong for anything anymore. I mean, whether I'm anti-vaccine or vaccine-oriented, it doesn't matter. What matters is that I want to kill the person that disagrees with me, but I can't. I can't afford to go there. I mean, my ego can go there, and then I take 3 deep breaths and go, from their point of view, that is the choice that they make.
Correct. Yes.
It's just that, but if you make a choice that might hurt another, then you may want to make choices to stay home more or whatever it is. And if you go back to that quote that I asked before, that I quoted before, it's your compass. It will tell you. So it's a moment, self-mastery is moment to moment. And that's why I'm excited to talk to beautiful young women like the two of you, because we get to influence people into self-mastery in knowing that we're human beings constantly making mistakes, but that we can correct. So that's a little bit of my introduction, and I know it was long.
Oh my God, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. It sounds like it's very mindful based or mindful centered, but especially specifically on the non-judgmental element, to basically just love one another for who they are, the humanness that they are. They all have a path, and it might not be, we might not agree with the path, and it's the path that they're on. And who are we to judge that path? And I agree with that. I think that if I think part of the challenge that we've seen worldwide is our lack of love. Like that word, the L word, I think that people have just not been loving one another enough. And it's been, we could take a lot of sides with that about what's causing it. It could be on purpose.
If people are stuck on stupid, let's call it what it is. People gotta learn how to feed their spirit and starve their ego. When you do that, then you're filling yourself with kindness and gratitude for who you are and what you have, and therefore it spills out and towards the people surrounding you. And although I'm a very opinionated Latina. I'm very opinionated. I believe this, I believe that. But you know what? With that, the judging comes in, and I don't want people to judge me because I'm a strong, fiery gladiator guru. I want, so I can't judge. So what I've been doing is, I respect your decision for whatever the hell you want to do in your life, but my boundaries and my moral compass is set to where you better respect mine. And that's how we get along in life. It's about, I always said we were born to be of service. If we live our lives being of service, then everything that's supposed to fall in place will fall in place, because we are being guided by the spiritualism of our ancestors and of a higher power. So if we're becoming tuned with our spiritualness, then guess what? As humans, we are kind, we are important, and we are of service.
And we are very capable of being those individuals. The human potential is, you can't even measure it. And yet we choose for whatever reason to limit ourselves. And then once we limit ourselves, then we limit those around us because of our expectations of those individuals. And we become very closed, and we become closed from, socially, due to the social norms or how we were raised or our religion or whatever. And I when I was reading your going through that whole front page of yours, it's evident that you're big on consciousness, global consciousness, becoming realizing that that I'm sitting here in Connecticut, but I'm in charge of this one person that's sitting in a tribe in Africa or a village in China. I am responsible for those people, even though I don't know them. And consciously we are, because we're all connected.
Yes, we are. Sorry, go ahead. I was just making noise.
I was kind of done. I was almost like, good, I'm glad she's interrupting, because I lost my train of thought and I didn't know where to go from there. So I was good.
I think we're all on the same wavelength. Senora Doria, Dame Doria, she was, a trailblazer. She's one of the women that I'm honored to add, that I speak of in my, I hope you don't get offended, but I have a very, what is the word I'm looking for? I have an art series that is very popular, and I have a whole mission statement and a blog on it. It's called The Power of Pussy. And what it is a reminder to women to remind yourselves of your value, how we are, we are the breeders of life, or the awesome aunties of that individual, that we're trendsetters and trailblazers. And to know you is an honor that you have for so long. You one of the people who got us into where we're at, where we're at, because you kept going forward And I can only imagine the opposition you came against back in that time.
I actually, it was interesting because I was kind of really protected. That was not my destiny. I didn't even know that there were people that were judgmental of me that I was Latina. I learned because my mentors created the first business school for entrepreneurs of its kind. And so since I was 28 years old, I've been surrounded by masters. So I was surrounded by masters that were experts in everything. You name it, from how you look, on marketing, on finances and negotiations, all these things, on learning technology. So my mentors created the industry, the experiential, the transformational, the entrepreneurial training industry as you know it today. And some of you know that Robert Kiyosaki of Rich Dad Poor Dad was my business partner for 9 years. And in many ways, I supported him in building up his deservability level. And we got him ready for him. If you go to moneyandyou.com and you download the book, The Business Success Model, that business success model, the first step is to learn from experts and masters. And so I really want to acknowledge the two of you because I'm sure that you bring in experts and masters here to speak to your audience. And that is such a valuable service to give to people. So Robert learned pretty fast that after we were business partners for 9 years, and he wanted to move just into investments, and I didn't. I am not an investment animal. I'm an entrepreneurial, transformational animal. And so I wanted to stay in that field. So the quadrants, if you're familiar with the cash flow quadrant, do you know the cash flow quadrant? Employees, self-employed, business owner, and investor. So I chose, the business entrepreneurial quadrant. And so my mentors that created the first business school of its kind in 1978, I was a student in it. And what they did at the time, they combined human potential teachings with sound business principles. And I learned the principles so well, I ended up inheriting and earning it. I earned it, inheriting the intellectual property. And I created a whole economic engine. And that is key because I love to speak to people that have beautiful life purposes and create an economic engine. So if they go to moneyandyou.com, they will see that book is for free. That's one way to build an economic engine. And sadly, because of COVID, we haven't been able to have our Money and You program live. We're doing it next week, 2 weeks in San Diego. I don't know when I'll do another one. But my business model, which I teach everyone to do, you have to choose a business model very, very, very early. Because I don't know anything about the two of you beautiful people. But I have to tell you that I don't know whether you have a business model, whether you have your individual ones, but having this particular platform is a beautiful business model. It's a beautiful platform for you to create a business model that you could monetize in very big ways. So the Money and You program teaches that, and we're doing it in 2 weeks. We don't know when we'll do it again, and we're almost filled. I would love for the two of you to come and attend. It's just go to moneyandyou.com, learn all about it. And one of the things is that we are constantly getting people to see that business is very easy. Business is very easy, and so is money. But what happens is that people put such a charge on it. It looks like most people's financial consciousness and money consciousness actually looks like the back of a TV. All the cables are all convoluted. It's everywhere. And so one of the things that you have to do around business and money, you really need to undo each one of them. And it's a combination of really understanding your own prosperity consciousness, your own way and your own decisions that you have made around money and making new ones, but also creating an economic engine, whether it is a profitable organization or a nonprofit. It doesn't matter, because either way, you have to have either profits or donations, contributions into your organization. So, but that's for entrepreneurs, but not everyone is an entrepreneur. And this is where I think my success comes from, is that a lot of people love it, that I don't make employees wrong. Certain people were not born to be employees. They were, to be entrepreneurs.
Right.
But they can be part of an entrepreneurial team, and you can have profit sharing. And believe me, the people that started out, with all these big companies, and I used to say Apple, but I learned how, Stephen Jobs was not generous to the people that he started with, and look what happened to him. It's like, you can't, that's unforgivable. All those people that grew Apple computers with them, but a lot of other companies are much more generous.
Mm-hmm.
So what you can do is you can go ahead and have people profit with you and grow with you, but they don't have to be the leader. They don't have to be the entrepreneur. They don't make as much money as you. They don't grow the company as much as you. But if you sell the company, they can definitely be part of it. So when you begin to really learn business principles and you understand the potentiality of your consciousness, of your brain, of your mind, of what you're really made out of, it is a winning formula. And that's why I'm committed to constantly be teaching people.
That's beautiful.
So
I'm going to pick it up and sign up. I don't know, where's Lori?
I'm here. I think my camera just decided to die this evening. It's the weirdest thing. So I am here though, so you can hear me.
Yes, I like that. Money, undo, then understand, right? Decisions about money, organizations. I'm trying to write everything down as you were talking, but I'm definitely going to go to moneyandmew.com because it's very interesting. You said you didn't know about us. Well, I'll stay in the badass, and you can go. I am a 3-time publisher, published author. I'm an artist, abstract artist. I'm a spiritual and creative healing life coach, like a sacred healer.
wow.
And I'm about to become an end-of-life doula. I have Viva Cafe con Leche. I'm also launching my own coffee company. And I do this all from the beauty of my home. I just, in March, ended my second assignment with a 5-month break in the 6th-year mark. I was a 10-year caregiver. First 6 years to my husband, and then 5 months of freedom and traveling, and then my mom got sick and I became her full-time caregiver. She passed away in this very room as well in March. So here I am, 50s, 10 years of caregiving. I'm an expert caregiver, but I was out of the workforce. So I'm building my businesses, what my passions are, what I vision, what pops up as a vision. Like when I ask Father God, where am I going now? And then I see a vision, then I know that's the answer. So I'm always listening as well as talking. So that's what that's me in a nutshell.
I can say something very quickly. Oh my God. I so love what you just said. And just so you know, there's a huge niche for what you're doing. What happens is so much panic in the world right now because there's so much death constantly being spoken about, constantly, COVID, the numbers. I mean, people are so traumatized, right? And it's really funny because I have had a lot of loss in my life. And it took being next to 5, 6 friends now as we were, supporting them as they were leaving this life. And with a friend of mine 5 years ago, I wanted to become a hospice supporter. I didn't think I could really be a full-on hospice nurse, but I wanted to be a hospice supporter because I have never experienced such depth of feelings of being with someone that was leaving the world. And I remember leaving the hospital with my best friend's husband. I kept him company in the evenings and she kept them company in the morning. And I created a whole system for people to come and visit him. And I remember sitting in my car. Sometimes I had to wait for my daily meditation to be in my car after being with him. And I would meditate in the parking lot of Scripps Hospital or another hospital in San Diego. And this depth of light and love. And I mean, God, I was like, I thought, this is the most unbelievable experience, because I could feel that I was traveling with them, going in and out. They were already leaving their bodies, and they were in both dimensions. They were going through the veil. And even though I couldn't really see and I couldn't tell you what was on the other side, my spirit was.
Yeah.
And then it would come back in this physical body. And I was like, oh. And I started getting more and more filled. And I almost got addicted to it. And then my inner child was like, no, we're not doing this. Not for a while. This is for big girls, and I'm not that big yet. It was really interesting. So I so honor. And I want to tell you, there's a huge niche. I hope that you can come to Money and You, because you're like an ideal person, because you are in the process of recreating yourself. And you need to know that what you're thinking about being end of life doula is a niche. It's a huge niche. And the education that needs to happen, writing books, podcasts, television programs.
I'm starting my podcast. The Kick-Ass Bitch of Menopause is coming soon. And it's about caregiving. But
Yes. Oh, I can't encourage you enough, because there's so many people. And even for you to learn, even if you have no one in your life sick, I think that we all need to be trained, to have a little training, so that when it does start happening, you can handle it. Because this is one area, another area that we're not prepared for. Money, we're not, and death, we're not.
And it's just, isn't it ironic? My favorite quote is from Kenneth Eyre. It says, "In life acts death. Why do people love me but hate you?" And death answers, "Because you are a beautiful lie, and I am a painful truth." And I love that. And I have that quote in my third book, and because it's powerful. What does it tell you? How when we don't want to face reality. And the end of life doula is a reality, just like when people gather at the birth of a child. And I think what bigger, being in the same bedroom, sleeping very peacefully in the same bedroom as both my husband and my mother made the transition, watching them leave so peacefully, and witnessing that. My husband left while I was sleeping, but I kept him in the bed for 14 hours. I told hospice, "You're not taking him." And he never changed colors or anything. And my mom, my sisters and I was with her as she took that last breath, and the portal opened up and she was traveling. And I saw her face, just the wrinkles just disappeared right in front of me. So, I noticed the beauty. So I'm actually about done with my end of life doula course. And so I'll be certified soon. And that's something that I wanted to do right before I got the call to take care of my mom. But I guess spiritually, I had to deal with my mom, who there was a lot of resentment growing up. A lot of resentment, a lot of lack of this, and what was formed as a child. I grew and matured, but that thought didn't. So I'm still feeling some type of way. So I got the grace and the gift of opportunity to spend that time with her and love her and forgive her and forgive myself for holding on to the bad memories and not remembering the good ones that we did share as well. So I think all of that, everything happens if we're aware of the spirituality that happens around us, and God, or like your higher power speaking to you. I think we would be better individuals, better people of service, less judgmental, and just more natural with the world. It's raining. Oh my God, I just did my hair. You're mad, but it's raining. Thank God. The birds, the trees, the flowers will be fed. So it's what it is in life. It's balance. And as long as we catch ourselves and we tighten up and we have that scale balance, I think we're each on our own path. And I believe that spiritually, because I'm very spiritual in that way. But yeah.
Yay. And what about Badass Buddha? What does she do?
I'm enjoying watching. I feel like I'm watching the program because I don't see myself anymore. I feel like I'm just watching it. I'm going, wow, this is a great program with these two fabulous women. This is absolutely phenomenal. I am a chiropractic physician. I have been for over 22 years. I was a post-secondary human anatomy and physiology and pathophysiology teacher for almost 2 decades.
Wow.
And then about 4 years ago, I ended up becoming a life coach, specializing in mindfulness practice and wellness and transformation because of my own rock bottom place that I hit about 5.5 years ago. And that's what I do. And I teach workshops. I teach corporate workshops. I love to go in and teach mindfulness practice and stress management and understanding the human body. And I'm a science geek and I love science, but I also have been around the spiritual, or should I say the complementary and alternative medicine element of it since I was in my teens. So I've been around body workers and energetic healers and Reiki masters. And so I was always around that. And even though, you would explain it to somebody and they'd say, that's all woo woo. And then, yes, but I resonate with woo woo, but I also loved the science. And then we get years later and we actually have diagnostic tools that prove that these incredible healing sessions work, that they what they do to the brain and how they affect the body. So, but that's what I do. But you said something that really struck me when you were talking about your program coming up, and you were saying how some people are entrepreneurs and some people aren't. And I have to tell you, so I've been an entrepreneur now for about 4 years and full-time 3. And I question that all the time. As much vision as I have, and as much as I see myself doing that, I'm not good at it. I'm honestly, I mean, they're really, and I know people say, oh, you shouldn't say you're not good at it, but I'm not. And I question all the time to say, maybe I'm not the number 1 person. Maybe I'm supposed to be the number 2 person. Maybe I'm supposed to be that individual. So I'm like thinking, going, oh my gosh, maybe I really need this training, because it would, I think the idea of just becoming okay with who you are and who you're meant to be.
I have to tell you that it is ideal program for actually the 2 of you, if I may say that. There are certain people that is not, but I have to tell you something very, very quickly, that most people that are like in your genre, and you are like the practitioner, okay, you are the product. They're usually not the entrepreneurs. It's very difficult to be both. You either the product, that's what you are, or you are the person that is running it. That's why you never heard about me. You heard of Robert Kiyosaki. We prepare him to be ready for Sharon Lecter that published, Rich Dad Poor Dad, that worked with him in that whole series. In many ways, it was Sharon Lecter that was the power behind. I was the power behind him for the 9 years before, and got him to be a multimillionaire before he could go on and move on, right? So one of the things that you want to do is you want to really consider yourself as the product, but then also learn about business so that you know whom to go into partnership or who to manage your business. The basics are always good for a product, a professional to know. It is really, really important. We're going to have some beautiful people at the Money and You program. And there's a woman by the name of Dr. Adrienne Lara. And Adrienne is the most fascinating GYN doctor. And she is a sex expert. I mean, she talks about vaginas and orgasm like,
God, that's my type of people.
That's right.
She's unbelievable. And
I have an orgasm drinking coffee in the morning.
Yeah. It's orgasmic.
Yeah.
And Dr. Lara is the next Dr. Ruth, as far as I'm concerned. And like she likes to say, except she's going to be wearing, high heels. And she's somebody that I actually interview. If you go to fridayswithdoria.com, once you sign up, you will then see the replays, and she's in there. You must watch her. And she and many others are having the challenge on how do you grow an empire, a business around you when you are the one, and that's what's going to happen to you too, as you become this doula, as you become this incredible product. And you have to think of an economic engine. This is really, really important, because if not, you will find yourself constantly being a solopreneur, and your gifts are not given to as many people, exposed to the many, many people that need it. Because when you have as much experience as the two of you do in your individual careers, in your gifts that you have, that is what business is about. And you have all these people who are not that good, that are famous and
I know.
create all these things. And they're like, you go, how did they get there? Well, they got there by by good business systems, period. So I'm always encouraging people that have true gifts, that are really masterful at what they do, to really use sound business principles. And go get that little book at moneyandyou.com, The Business Success Model. It's a little tiny book. You can read it on a flight between San Francisco and LA, and Connecticut and New York. Just and you will go ahead and or the drive between Connecticut and New York. And sorry, I forgot how close it is. And what you can do is you can just go ahead and see the basics of it. So you both have niches, because I first went to a chiropractor when I was 26 years old, I think, in 1976. And I have had chiropractic treatments ever since. I had a sweetie that was a chiropractor who saved my life, who discovered the liver damage that I had, which is when I quit drinking in 1988. And had it been not for him, I don't think I would be alive right now, because by the time I got to a naturopath, they told me I had 3 years before I needed a new liver. I have a Leo, that's the name of my liver. I named it, and I have all these. I had these beautiful visualizations of how my Leo was supposed to look, and I heal him completely. I have the healthiest liver, and so I am a big proponent of alternative. And then also, of course, we also need to use the gifts that God has given us, that are now showing up in the world, the new technologies, all the new things that are coming online. So the balancing, and you all being messengers, the two of you. And I feel like we have just turned into a personal conversation here, which may be okay or not okay with your audience. But
no, it is. It is.
So the two of you are an example of a lot of beautiful masters out there that really need to get serious about getting the work out to the world and creating wealth. If anybody should be rich, it's the two of you.
Oh,
I won't disagree with you there. And thank you. Thank you for saying that, because when that is not a piece that's present, it's hard to hear it. It's hard to receive it. It's hard to acknowledge it sometimes. And it's I've always felt that there was something. I mean, I was almost killed in a car accident. Well, I shouldn't say I was almost killed. I had actually I asked for a sign to redirect me, and boy, did I get redirected literally across a whole bunch of traffic facing the wrong direction on a major highway, and didn't hit anything or anybody. And when I was facing the wrong direction, as the oncoming traffic is coming towards me, I said, okay, I gotcha. And I knew that I was supposed to be doing something else, because I was headed down the wrong path. And I said, I need a sign, because I don't know what to do. And I really appreciate, I can't even explain to you how much and I needed this today, because I love that idea. I love the idea of being the product. I know I've always been told, as Gladiator Guru always talks about her spiritual abilities, I have been told for years, and really don't talk about it that much, of my healing abilities, because I don't know why, I just never think of it that way. But I've been told my hands, my this, my that. And maybe that's something that's the path that I need to really look to pursue. Maybe that's what I've not been really pursuing.
So what do you think it is? Why do you say maybe? Just don't, if you change your mind a week from now, great. But just say, this is what I'm going to do, and feel it out.
Right.
Feel it out.
Yeah.
Just practice for a minute. Tell us as if though you're really going to do that. Can you do that?
I could. I could definitely. I could see myself being a healer like that. Not a spiritual healer, but an energetic, different plane type of healer.
Well, yeah, I'm a sacred healer. I do hands-on, and I do cleansings, and I do power of words. I speak love. I speak kindness. I believe in my God, and so that it's all the senses that are getting the sacredness of it. So yeah, you touch people, you align people's bodies, people leave feeling good. You taught massaging. Yeah, you have to acknowledge what you have and accept it, and then release it to the masses. And that's how we become fully what we were born to do.
Yes. And with that,
El miedo se deja en la gaveta. You don't bring,
Sí.
I'm big, and there's no fear. There's no room for fear. We talk about this a lot on our show, right, Badass?
yes.
The fear will paralyze you, and the only thing that'll work is your finger pointing it to blame other people. You gotta tuck that fear in your top drawer when you start your day. Because your day has to be where you're fully aware and present in your now. You have to own your now and live in your moment in order to be the best you. And that's what we tell our people. That's what I tell myself that every morning.
And I'm telling you, we could just talk to Doria like all night, but I know Doria has other.
Yeah, it's not. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and we have gotten to the top of the hour, but past the top of the hour, and this has been just. I don't want you to go. Like I don't want you to go. This has been really, really enlightening, and we didn't get that many viewers on for the live feed, which usually we're morning, but we're going to be sharing it because, and we're going to push for our tribe to really listen to this and get the views as the evening, or as the weeks progress, because this is really, really fabulous. And I'm thrilled that you came on. I really am. This was. And I love it because I see Gladiator Guru just trusted in the process. I said, listen, you're going to love Doria. And I could tell she does. I mean, there's no.
It's like I've known you all my life. There's just
yes.
The pool. But yeah, I thank you for taking the time. Come on. I love the guy who was setting up your background. Tell him I said, hola.
Oh, that's my honey.
Yes.
Yes, all the women fall in love with him.
Awesome. Love the accent.
He's a German. He's a Maoiized German. We were friends for years. We've known each other for 10 years. We've been together for nearly 5. And he's my dream man.
Oh, I love that.
Wonderful.
He's not only, and I'm still a cougar because he's 7 years younger than me.
Yeah.
He's my cub.
That's what I said. That's it. I said, hold on, it's time. You know what? Be the best me. But
He loved it. He heard you say something about him, and he walked in. He says, they thought I was good looking. I said, you are, honey.
Yes, good for you. See, I love you even more.
I know.
But yeah, we're going to look you up. We're going to sign up to, especially the Fridays.
Come to the Ho'oponopono prayer tomorrow at noon. I know you probably have appointments already, but God makes no mistake. I'm not into how many viewers watch this or anything. I am famous for being in all kinds of beautiful podcasts, and then people get really big and they get really famous, and then they come back and then they go, remember when I did my first podcast and I only had like 25 viewers, and now they have like millions. And then they always bring me back to do these big things. And it's one of my greatest joy because I feel like whoever is supposed to be listening to this will hear it. And those that are not. And that is how the cookie rolls. I never ask people how many followers they have.
Good
My
boy.
assistants always go, you should find out. I said, no, if I have the time, I will do it. And I had the time, and why not? And I love, I love the title, Viva Cafe con Leche.
And we talk about coffee, and we talk about when it touches your lips and how it goes all the way. Oh, girl, you got to be on Tuesdays and listen to that. But you know what? It was an honor, and thank you for saying what you just said, because I don't agree with who has the biggest following. We got to go here. They want to come here. I think that's, you know what? That's when you're thinking up here and you're not in gratitude. So I appreciate
Yes.
you saying that.
Yes.
My webpage is margaritaconmargarita.com, which means my name, my artist name is Margarita de Margarita, which means I belong to me. So
Yes.
that is my webpage. The Badass Buddha has hers. And let's just connect. We're just going to connect. You're not done with me, Doria. So cuidado, because yo voy a estar ahí, Doria aquí, Doria para allá.
Oh, thank you so much. And listen, come back and I'll follow you. You follow me. I'm on my way. And tomorrow on Saturday at 11 a.m. California time, have me in your thoughts, because it's going to be the beginning of my BFF's life celebration. And
Yes.
my inner child was crying this morning, and he was like, it's okay. It's okay. He was just too young, just ALS. It's actually, he had cancer and he developed ALS, and that's really what took him out. And like I said, he did not deserve that, because he was such a good man. But we don't know what life. All I know is that I'm now support his beautiful wife as much as possible, and his niece and nephew, and just be there for them, because if I'm hurting, I can't even imagine how they're feeling. So I am. And so Ho'oponopono, and tomorrow morning, it's going to be 6 a.m. my time, 12 noon your time.
Yes. Yes. We will be there.
Clubhouse, and you said, I'm going to listen on Clubhouse, but you said Clubhouse and what?
It's, if you go to Clubhouse, just follow me, look under at Doria Cordova, and then it's at 12 noon. 12 noon.
Yeah.
If you follow me, if you put my little bell next to my name, and today, if you're in Clubhouse, in a few minutes, in about 20 minutes, I'm going into the 1%ers only. Oh my God, that's the best group. It is so good. It's called the 1%ers only. You can follow Mo Rock or Jay Nolan. This is a group. We have so much fun, and you guys completely fit in there.
Oh, great.
It's called 1%ers Only is the name of the club. Or you can follow Jay Nolan, Mo Rock. And they've already started, but I have to go handle something. So I'll be there in about 20 minutes.
Well,
Okay,
Mija, you
great.
have a good rest of your day. It's evening here.
Yes.
I loved meeting you. I feel very
Yes.
honored meeting you.
Yes.
The Badass Buddha finds people, and she does the searching. So I'm very grateful for that. We will stay in touch, Mamita.
Yes.
Thank you.
Definitely.
I've been called a badass too, you know.
Oh, you are. No, are you kidding? You are the queen of the badasses.
Yes.
There's no doubt. That's definitely. Oh, well, thank you so much for coming on.
Keep it
Doria,
going.
we appreciate it. And thank you, everybody who tuned in this evening from a special evening with Viva Cafe con Leche from the Badass Buddha. Remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
And from the Gladiator Guru, mi gente, remember, breathe in the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.
Namaste, everyone.
Namaste.
Good night.
Bye-bye.